Hi, it's Joan. I'm covering in the Korean, it's Surah 10, which is also known as Jonah. And so a well known story in the Christian Bible. The verses are 61 to 109. To start out, I'm going to read a dua for forgiveness. Allah, forgive me for sins that I've done in the past and which I may do in the future, sins I've done privately or those in public. All the sins you're aware of, more so than even myself. You are the one that can fix them. You are the most capable. This section covers this well-known story also of Noah, and then it speaks again about polytheism. Apparently, Pharaoh wasn't a well-liked leader in that time. There are two verses that discuss him here. 75 and 83, it said, Pharaoh and his dignitaries acted arrogantly. They were sinful, high and mighty, and he was a tyrant. But I know that in Egypt now, where tourists go yearly, and is popular, that area where the tombs are of the kings of Pharaoh, and they average about 13 million yearly. There's a tour you can take that it starts in Cairo, and this is listed in April. Each tourist would pay $3,500, but it tours the Nile River on a cruise and stops at islands. And it shows you the pyramids of Giza where Pharaoh is buried, the Sphinx, 2 museums, temples, and you go on a sailboat. And I did want to, I looked up, I've always been fascinated with that. I was looking at the size of the pyramid. It's listing one is 481 feet high, 756 feet long, and maybe this is what it was referring to in the Surah. It was built by carrying 2 million large blocks weighing 6 million tons, so somehow that got made. Then, as far as the story of Jonah, of Noah, again, the people are warned. Oh, I did want to say, I looked up what sins, going back to the Nineveh story, and that Jonah warned the area. Their sins were listed as lies, rape, harlotry, and witchcraft. I wasn't too sure what witchcraft was. It said black magic. I looked up that as things like fortune telling. But Jonah was able to warn them. He didn't want to at first, but it saved them. They repented, and that town is now known as, it's in Iraq. It's actually an affluent area. But going ahead into the story of Noah, I researched whether there was anything in museums that supported this story. It said no, there really isn't any scientific facts that support it yet, and there's no evidence of a global flood. However, it was during the Ice Age. The ark that he built was 510 feet long, and there was someone where I was living in Columbus, Ohio, on Sunbury Road that really built a replica of it. That was, I wish I would have taken a picture, but that was interesting. He built it over a long period of time. So that was 7,500 years ago. There is a place in the Maltese Islands, which is Ghar, Dalam Cave, Dalam. It's accessible. You can tour that. There's evidence of human activity. A museum and a cave you can tour. It's $50 per adult. I researched what kind of animals would have been around during the Ice Age that he would be putting on an ark. It said things like a sloth, which would have been 9 feet in size with 25-inch claws, or a mammoth, which is 14 feet, a saber-toothed cat, which is 350 pounds plus. So that would be really a difficult undertaking. But the Korean, the Jewish, and Christian Bibles all note that it did happen. Then wanted to cover, what else do I have here? Oh, I liked verse 87, make your homes places of worship. And verse 103 is binding on us to save believers, if possible. Then I'm going to end this with verses 62 and 107. If Allah afflicts you with harm, none can remove it except He. And if He wants good, none can repel the grace. Then verse 62 says, all His friends have nothing to fear or grieve. And in verse 68, it mentions that we're told, it says, they say Allah has taken a son. He is everything in the heavens and earth. And the last line says, do you have any proof?